Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're continuing Project Long Necklace. It's been a while I've done any pendants for it, so today we're gonna work on this gorgeous pendant, which I decided to call Tassel Pendant. I don't think I've ever done tutorial on making tassels, so I thought I'm gonna show you how I do it. It's pretty easy, but I also made this bail. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna add this component as well, which makes it extra chic. So for this pendant, I'm going to show you all the materials I used for this. Again, I will leave all the links together for this material, so if you purchase them together, you get a kit. And then I'm going to make a separate list for the pendant we're going to make in this tutorial. So for this one, I used 30mm round connector. This is very forgiving design, so you can use any size or any shape really, but this is what I'm using. And then I use this 3 beads. This is Toho and this is Miyuki. So this is probably first time I'm mixing them together, and they worked pretty well. So this is this bronzy color, PF594. This is 11O, and then these are 11O Miyukis. This one's like blue, code 413, and this crystal AB, code 250. So they're all in my shop, and I sell them all in these huge tubes. So you get plenty of beads. And then here I used 2 colors of thread. Here I used this blue Nymo size B. And then for this one, because blue would show through, I used Nymo white size D. Again, the links will be there. Today we're gonna work with different color set. So you're gonna need same connector. I'm gonna be using same connector as in this one, but I'm gonna use 3 other colors of beads, and today I'm using only Miyukis. So they are all 11O Miyukis. This is code 498 gray. This is code 4. This is like silver line topaz, and white. I think it's pearl white, code 528. I'm gonna be using this thread. You wouldn't want to necessarily use this thread with these beads, but I'm using it only to be able to show you what I'm doing, and this is very contrasting to the beads I have. This is Miyuki beading thread, code 24. Then apart from all those, you are also gonna need scissors, beading needle. I'm gonna be using size 10. And you're gonna need a bit of glue. You can use any glue. I had this for ages. And that's it. So I'm gonna thread my needle and then we'll get to work. One thing I forgot to mention, you're also gonna need a stop bead. So we're gonna stop with that. You can use any bead here. So I'm gonna leave a short tail that I can just sew in later, literally 3-4 inches. Take my needle through the stop bead. And I like to do it twice to make sure it stays in place. And we're gonna start adding beads with the brick stitch. So I'm gonna pick up, first layer I'm gonna do gray. So I'm gonna pick up 1 gray. So what I'm gonna do basically, I hold the needle between my finger and the connector. So when I pull my needle, that bead stays there, like so. And then here, I'm gonna take my needle through that bead from this side. In the beginning it's a bit wonky, but the further you go, easier it gets. And then I'm gonna take my needle. I want my needle on the other side, at the back of the connector. So we have the first bead in place. I'm gonna pick up another bead, drop it down, hold it on the inside of the connector. And then see, my thread is at the back of the connector. I bring it to the front and take through the second bead. And then take my needle to the back of the connector. Like so. Pick up a bead, drop it down. Like so. Bring my needle from the front of the connector and take it through the bead. My needle to the back of the connector. See? It's lining up. Pick up a bead, drop it down next to the other beads. Bring my needle through the front of the connector and take it through the bead to the back of the connector. The longer you do it, you find easier ways for yourself. It's quite difficult to show on the camera what I'm doing. So I just pick up a bead here, for example. I hold it between the connector and my finger, pull my needle through. So the bead stays in place there. Take my needle through the bead and tap. So you just continue on and on until you have it inside the circle, and meet me back when you reach the end. Now, if you're doing this along with me, you've probably noticed how annoying that tail is. So we're gonna get rid of it now. So I'm gonna add, I think I can squeeze in one more bead there. So I'm gonna add that there. See, it gets everywhere. And then take my needle back through the bead. Okay, that bead is there, so I'm gonna remove my needle from this one. I'm gonna remove the stop bead. Then I'm gonna thread this tail. So here we are. I'm gonna hold that down for a bit. So here we are. I'm gonna take it down through this bead, the last bead we added. Again, take it back up through the other side. So it's connected. So you have a bridge between them. And now I'm just gonna take my needle down the next bead, back up through the other side. Take it down the next bead, back up through the other side. Take it down through this bead, back up through the other side. And then here I'm going to remove my needle and cut this tail. So the tail is gone. Now we can continue. So this time I'm going to add the gold one. So starting from the second row, brick stitch is pretty easy. So I'm going to pick up 2 beads. So see, I'm going to skip the first bridge, that thread there. I'm going to go under the second one. And then I'm going to take my needle up through the second bead. That's it. And then pick up 1 bead, take it under the next bridge, and take it up the same bead. Now if you continue in the same fashion, you would be adding 1 bead on top of each bridge. That will end up giving you the same number of beads you have on this row. Means it's not gonna work because you will have to add less beads because the circle is much smaller. So when you continue adding, eventually your bead gonna start covering the bridge it's supposed to go on top, and then you'll have to jump. For example, next bead I have to add on top of this bridge, but you will get to the point where your beads start moving further down, and then this bridge will be hidden, and then you'll just have to jump to the next one. That way you will end up with less beads in the second row. But for now, we are still early on, so I'm going to continue with you until we have to skip 1 bridge. So I'm going to take a bead, take the thread under the bridge, and go up the same bead. Pick up a bead, go under the bridge, go up the bead, pick up a bead, go under the bridge, go through the same bead, pick up a bead. See? That bridge where I'm going through, it's already half covered by this one, so soon I will have to skip that one and then jump, but for now I'm still there. Go up. Pick up a bead, go under the bridge, go up, I think one last time, and then I will skip a row, skip a bridge. Go up, and then here, pick up a bead. So I would have to go through this one, but I'm gonna skip that one and then go through the next. Go up, pick up a bead, go under the bridge, go up. See, so you already skipped one bridge, and it means you already have one less bead in this row than that one. That's not the only time, so you'll have to do that a couple more times, and then when you reach the end, I'll meet you back here. So here you can see I added the last bead, but it's not connected to this first one, so I'm going to take my needle through that first one, but I'm going to take my needle under the bridge that's under that bead as well, and then take my needle up, and that's how you finish the second row. So any more rows you add on top, you do the exactly same way like the second row, meaning you again skip bridges and add less beads than in the second row. Here I did 4 rows, but it's entirely up to you how many rows you want to have. So continue adding the rows same way until you think you had enough, and meet me back here. So I finished, I added same 4 rows. Now to get rid of the tail, I'm just gonna go down the next bead, go down 2 more, go down here, go up the same beads from the other side, and go all the way up through the beads. You can do that a couple more times to make sure your work is nice and sturdy and your thread doesn't come undone, but I'm gonna stop here. And now it's time to make the tassel. For that I'm gonna be using the white. Here I used Crystal AB. So to do that, I'm just gonna make a big pile of beads. Thread my needle with extra long thread. So I thread my needle, and we're just gonna start picking up beads for the tassel. How long you make your tassel is up to you, but what I decided to do, I'm gonna make them all 10 centimeters long. Now for the tutorial I grabbed the ruler, but I always have this cutting board under my mat because I do a lot of measuring in this business, so it's quite useful to have it. But for this tutorial I'm just gonna grab this. So every tassel I'm gonna make 10 centimeters long, so it's easier if you have a pile of beads just to see how much it is now. Oh, it's actually more than 10 now. So I'm just gonna hold it at 10 here. So all the extra I you can just remove from the bottom side. Now I'm gonna drop all these beads to the end of the thread and leave about 4 to 6 inches. And then hold the beads here, pick up one bead, and then take it back through all those beads. That's it, and just take your needle back through all those beads. So I'm back through all those beads, and then I'm gonna cut my thread here. So I have one ready. I'm gonna make 9 more. So I used 10 in my first tassel. I'm gonna do the same on this one. Once I have 10, I'm gonna meet you back here. I have this 10 ready. Now we need to add some beads to this to be able to attach it to our tassel. So I'm just gonna pick up, I'm just gonna eye 1 inch of beads. So I have that much length of beads. Drop it down, leave the 4-6 inches. Now take it under the connector and back through the beads. And that's it. Remove the needle. Here. Now we're gonna go ahead and tie a knot. I'm just gonna pick this up and holding it here, try to pull all the threads. So kind of having all those beads and around the same level. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tie a knot as close as to beads as possible. That's why you need that much length, otherwise it would have been really uncomfortable to do this. I'm gonna try to twist this a bit. Here. Get all those threads through. I think they're all through. And then tie it as close to the beads as possible. So this happened, it's just because all the threads got loose. So to strengthen that knot, what I'm gonna do, all these threads one at a time, I'm gonna pull it hard. And that's it, that strengthened the knot. So now I'm gonna apply some of the glue. I apply a bit of glue to the knot. As it's just one knot, it might come apart, so covering it in sticky glue should keep it in place for years to come. Just covering that knot in glue. That's it. So now I'm just gonna leave this to dry. Put it aside. While that's drying, we're gonna work on our bail. I'm basically doing PRAW, so I like to use beading owl to start off. So I have a new thread. I'm gonna pick up 4 beads. I'm gonna be using gray again. So I have 4 beads. I'm gonna drop it down. I'll leave a short tail that I can sew in later, literally that much, and I'm gonna tie 2 overhand knots. Make it 3. That's it. Then I'm gonna set that on my owl. That's what I have. So I'm gonna take my needle through the first bead. Pick up 3 beads. Go through the same bead my thread's coming out of. Go to the second bead. Pick up 2 beads. Go down the side of the first wall and go through the bottom bead. We're basically starting with a cube of PRAW. Go through the third bead of the bottom. Pick up 2 beads. Go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead. Go through the last floor bead and up the side of the first wall. Pick up 1 bead. Go down the side of the last wall, straight through the floor bead. Then go up and connect the ceiling. So there's 4 beads at the top. Create the ceiling of the PRAW unit. So that's the PRAW unit ready. Now on top of this, basically my bail is an expanding PRAW. Each row I'm changing color, so it gives this look. Now on top of this, we're gonna create a PRAW unit with 6 sides. So I'm gonna pick up 3 beads, so I'm changing to gold now. Go through the same floor bead. Go to the second floor bead. Pick up 3 beads. Then go through the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead. Go through the third floor bead. Pick up 2 beads. Go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor. Go through the floor bead and then straight up the first wall. Pick up 2 beads. Go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor. Now I have enough to hold on to. I'm just going to remove the owl. Here, I'm going to go up the side and connect the ceiling, which is now 6 beads. It's probably confusing if you don't know CRAW or PRAW, but I don't want to be explaining basics here because this isn't really elementary tutorial. And if you are new to CRAW, I would suggest to check out my other tutorials first, because I explain CRAW and PRAW in detail in a lot of my tutorials. And if you're a beginner, check out my Beading Basics playlist. The next row, we're gonna use gray again. So I'm gonna pick up 3 beads, go through the same floor bead, go through the second floor bead, pick up 3 beads, go down through the side of the last row and straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead, pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead, pick up 3 beads, go down the side of the last one and straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead, pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last one and straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead and straight up the side of the first wall, pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall, straight through the floor bead, and can go up again. Same bead where my thread's coming out of. And now connect the ceiling, which is even more beads now. So all those beads at the top, to connect them between each other. So if you've noticed, every second wall I add, I'm increasing the number of beads of the ceiling. You can just repeat what I'm doing and you'll be right there with me. Next row, we're gonna do in gold. I'm gonna pick up 3 gold beads, go through the same floor bead my thread's coming out of, go through the next floor bead, pick up 3 gold beads, go down the side of the last one straight through the floor bead, go through the floor bead, pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead, pick up 3 beads, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead, pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor, go through the next floor bead, pick up 3 beads, go down the side of the last one straight through the floor, go through the next floor bead, pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last one straight through the floor bead, go through the next floor bead, pick up 3 beads, go down the side of the last one straight through the floor, go through the last floor bead and straight up the side of the first wall, pick up 1 bead, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead, and then up the side of the wall. And now connect the beads at the top. we have now. Next one, we add gray. Pick up 3 beads, go through the same bead my thread's coming out of, go through the next 4 beads, pick up 3 11/0, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead. Go through the next floor bead, pick up 2 11/0, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead. Go to the next floor bead, and now here we're going to pick up 3. Go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor bead. Go through the next floor bead, pick up 2 11/0, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor. So I suppose you kind of understood what I'm doing by now. So you continue the same way, finish off this row, connect all the tops. So every other wall, you have 2 beads to go on top. And then once you finish this row, then I'm gonna meet you back here. Now next row is gonna be the last one, and we just do standard PRAW units here. So I'm just gonna pick up 3 beads, go through the same bead my thread's coming out of, like so, go through the next bead. Now easier to do is when I pick up next 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor. Easier is to go straight through the next bead as well. Pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall and straight through the floor, and then straight through the next bead as well. Pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall, straight through the floor, and through the next bead. And you just continue like that and finish this whole row, and then I'm gonna meet you back here. I'm almost there at the end. Pick up 2 seed beads, go down the side of the last wall, straight through the floor, and through the next bead. Pick up 2 beads, go down the side of the last wall, straight through the floor, and the next bead. And now here I'm gonna go up the side of the first wall, as this is the last bead I'm gonna add. Pick up 1 seed bead, go down the side of the last wall, straight through the floor, and that's pretty much it. We're done. So now I'm gonna take my bead to this side, take my thread to the other side. Now we have to make the loop that will go around the necklace. I'm just taking my needle through the beads to get to the other side, that's all. That's it. Now I'm gonna build a loop with the gold one. Pick up 3 11/0, go through the same bead my thread's coming out of. Reinforce. Now go to the top bead, up 3 beads, go through the same bead through the other side, reinforce, see, basically we are building right angle weave units. So I have 2, make it 11. So I'm gonna add another 9 units and then I'm gonna meet you back here. I think I have enough, so my thread is at the top bit there. Now see, we started on this side, I have to connect the top to the other side here. If you remember, the first unit is a cross, so it has 4 sides. So on one side we started, on the last side we add. So I'm gonna pick up 1 bead, go here, and then pick up 1 bead, and then go through the other side. And that will basically connect into the loop. Now I'm gonna reinforce this unit. Now this loop isn't done yet. I'm gonna take my needle through the first bead here of the first unit. I'm gonna pick up gray seed bead this time, and then I'm gonna go through the side of the next unit up. Pick up gray bead, go through the side of the next unit up. Pick up gray bead, go through the side of the next unit. Pick up a gray bead, go through the side of the next unit. Pick up a gray bead, go through the side of the next unit. Pick up a gray bead, side of the next unit, and just continue until we come around. So even here at the bottom, we're gonna add gray, and last one, and just reinforce. Go through as many as you want, and make sure to pull it nice and tight. Look, see how one side is nice and strong now? I'm just gonna go and reinforce it. You can do it more, but this is enough for me. Pull it nice and tight. And then here, make sure to come out of the gold bead or the base bead you're using. Go through this bead here. Go through this bead here, through the side. Now make sure to add gray bead between each gold bead here as well, just like we did on the other side. Reinforce and get rid of the tail, and get rid of this one as well. We're not gonna need them anymore. Now we are almost done. The bail is ready. Now we have to attach this to the bail. To do that, I'm gonna choose 2 longest tails. So I have 2 here. The rest, I'll just divide, just remove this 2 from the bunch. And the rest, I'm gonna cut. Make sure you don't cut those 2. I'm gonna cut it close to the knot, but not right next to the knot, to make sure it doesn't come undone, even if we used glue, like so. And then I'm gonna thread a needle with one tail. Now I'm gonna take my needle inside the bail and see this 4 beads at the top. That's where I'm gonna come out. Look here. And I'm just gonna take my needle through 1 bead here. Now I'm gonna leave it at that, remove my needle, thread the second tail. Now holding this so this one doesn't come off, I'm gonna rotate it and take my needle under and take it same place, opposite to the other side where I took it first time. So I'm gonna come out here and take it through this bead. So basically, if I pull it tight, it's inside. All I have to do now is tie knots and get rid of the tails. Make sure you just don't cut it very close because it's holding your tassel in. So I'm gonna go through lots of beads. Go down. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna tie knots because this 2 threads gonna hold the weight of your tassel. So I'm gonna tie a knot here. Go here. Up. To the side. Up. I'm gonna tie another knot here. Up. To the side. Down. To the side. Down. And I think I can cut the tail here. Go ahead, do the same thing with the second tail and get rid of it. And we are done. I still like this version better. I think it looks really nice with bronze and turquoise, and they have this crystal bead tassel. This one looks okay, but you can still see that blue thread through. So I'm gonna be taking this one apart. But I think I was able to show you what I wanted to show you. If you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Make sure to join our group called Kara's Beaders, where you can ask all your questions, share your pictures and stuff. So it's quite fun there. And in the description box, I will leave links separately for the items used on this one and for the items used on this one. If you're interested in the rope, make sure to go to the playlist called Project Long Necklace and you will find it there. All the tutorials related to Project Long Necklace are there. So if you are new to this project, start from the beginning where there are lots of different ropes. So I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.